Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over another incredibly strong gold farm that is focused on farming rousing fire and rousing frost. And this farm is going to be located in the Waking Shores, and essentially what's happening in this area is all of the frost and fire elementals are fighting each other. So all you're going to do is get your group, you're going to want at least one monk, and then you're going to want a few different pullers to just run around and constantly pull all of these very fast respawning enemies. And the enemies do respawn very quick here, so the faster you can kill, the faster they're going to respawn. And it even seems like these enemies can sometimes overspawn here, so you'll just see a ridiculous amount of enemies can be pulled at one time. Now the best way to do this is to have two groups of 4, have at least one monk with a statue, have maybe one other tank, have a couple range pullers like some hunters or boomkin druids or shadow priests or any ranged characters that can very easily pull a lot of enemies, and then have a few additional DPS characters that can do really good burst DPS. And this can still work with one group of 5, just 2 groups of 4 is just going to be more people to kill enemies quicker to get a lot more loot. And you can set up in pretty much any area you want around here. It's a decently open area and ranged characters are going to be pulling everything to you anyway, or you can just use the exact spot we used in the footage because that spot is pretty good as well. Now I'm not going to give a gold per hour because a lot of these resources are still fluctuating pretty heavily, but I'm just going to give you an idea of what you can expect to get when farming here for an hour. So first off, the main things you're going to be farming are the rousing frost and the rousing fire. And it seems you get a little bit more rousing frost here in general, but the amounts you're going to be getting of these two are still going to be pretty similar. So in my hour, I was able to get around 360 rousing frost and around 320 rousing fire. So you're going to be getting, say, 300 to 380 of each of these, depending on how quick your group is, how good the DPS is, all that type of stuff. And I do think my group actually was a little bit low in the DPS, so I think these may also be a little bit on the low side. So if you have more efficient groups, you could probably expect quite a bit more than this. And you will also be getting a decent chunk of raw gold here just from selling the grays off of all these elementals. And I was able to get right around 3,000 raw gold from selling all those grays after an hour of farming. You can also get the transmute fire recipe here, which seems to be a little bit more rare than some of the other transmute recipes. So I was going for around 1,500 gold on my server, but that's the primary stuff you're going to be getting if you have no professions helping this farm out. But if you have some specific professions, and more specifically meaning enchanting, you can also get a lot more gold from this. And I also went over this strategy in one of my last videos, so I'd recommend checking that out, going over the 2 professions you need for AoE farming like this. But if you have enchanting and have gone into the mystic specialization, you can also get the items that are made only for disenchanting, and this adds a lot of gold to this farm. So in an hour, I was able to get around 35 vibrant shards, which you get from disenchanting the blue mystic items that drop, or you can also get them from green ones if you're spec'd into that as well. I was able to get around 200 dust in an hour, which are from disenchanting any of the uncommon items you get. And then I was also able to get quite a decent bit of the epic mystic items that you disenchant into resonant crystals. And I was actually able to get, I think it was 11 in my first hour of farming. So 11 resonant crystals, the handful of epic mystic items I got. Now I don't know if that's higher or lower than normal because you are killing a lot of enemies. The spawns are super quick here. These enemies aren't super tanky, so you are going through a lot of enemies, which just gives you more and more chance to get these epic mystic items. And if you're just going off those resonant crystals I got over 30,000 gold just from those. So if you're doing this farm, I would probably recommend you have an enchanter with the mystic specialization because that's going to add a ridiculous amount of gold to this farm. But that's pretty much the entirety of the farm. It's pretty simple, it's really good, a really good AoE mob grinding spot for these 2 specific rousing elementals. And also another tip, before you go and try to sell these fire or frost elements you got from this farm, check on the rousing and the awakened version of these so you can turn 10 into the awakened version. Check both of them because sometimes you'll be able to sell the rousing version for a lot more than turning 10 into an awakened version and selling that. Just check the prices at the time you're going to sell them because you could end up making a lot more gold by selling one or the other. But that's pretty much all I want to go over for this farm. So subscribe if you want to see more World of Warcraft or other MMO videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about this elemental farm. And thanks for watching.